The world of PALs has been unleashed into the wild, and, well, I'm enjoying myself. Raids, legendaries, several factions of bad guys, and a whole load of uncanny Pokemon-esque designs await you as you run, soar, and aggressively T-pose your way across the landscape. Even the very first NPC you meet will tell you that PALs, this game's version of portable pocket monsters, mean business. For every harmless looking creature you see lies an abhorrent beast waiting for you to stumble into its territory.
What is that? It's hideous!
Danger is everywhere, or in this case, danger has been stuck behind a rock for half an hour. So what kind of shenanigans can you get up to in Palworld, and why on earth would you want to play a game so deeply seeped in the realm of blatant knockoffery? To answer this question, I've entered the POV of a verified expert, a man on the ground who knows his stuff, a man like Professor Yolk. Quickly skimming through the pre-made character creation options has you choosing between the appearance of a few generic anime-looking dudes or the son of Kronos himself. Immediately, we're greeted by three critters who might as well have been holding knives and forks. Thankfully, they disperse quickly. The camera begins focusing on, surprise surprise, an inexplicable technological MacGuffin giving off some cryptic message. The tree holds the truth. I'm sure it does, my friend. Excuse me while I spend the next 3 hours beating the truth out of the trees with my bare hands. Soon after spawning in, I catch my first pal, this chicken bloke. The first thing I asked myself after this victory was not wondering if this poor creature would ever forgive me for almost ending its life with a large wooden stick. Instead, where the extra egg and piece of meat came from after catching it. A question quickly forgotten since it was getting dark, cold, and the extra egg went a long way to remedy my problems. The morning after turned into a harsh reminder and a lesson in humility as a chicken ends my life with a single headbutt. Underneath its daft exterior lies a being of pure malice, which is why I thought it'd be pragmatic to catch 10 more of the city buggers. Eventually, I had amassed enough power to explode stuff with my mind. It didn't come in very useful as my current objective was finding an area to build around, and although my chicken empire was growing, it fell flat on its face against any sort of resistance. Also, this is kind of unrelated, but after visiting the PAL box a few times, it occurred to me that all the PALs I'd caught so far have a side-facing icon, whereas the chickens just gaze into your soul. It was giving me a bad case of the heebie-jeebies. I felt like this was the game telling me I had committed some sort of cardinal sin towards chicken kind, so I set out to make amends and find a playstyle that didn't involve dooming countless chickens to a PC box. I began exploring Palworld somewhat conventionally, until I discovered that Palworld has its own Team Rocket guys scattered around the map. Apart from a couple of them roaming the area, they inhabit camps which can enter a sort of eternal conflict against the local wildlife. The incentive to clear the place is that each camp contains a jailed pal waiting to be rescued, but if you get the timing right you can just waltz in under their nose, unlock the cage, and get a free pal. This is pretty much all I did for a while, alongside looting chests and making a mental note on which pal's likeness would be best for Nintendo to call on during a lawsuit. My exploration led me further and further away from the base, down a cliff, and into a stretch of water near this desert biome. It occurred to me that I hadn't actually swum any proper distance in this game, resulting in an embarrassing death that could have been avoided quite easily. That's alright, we'll just go back, grab my stuff and be on my way.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! Here's the cover!
I must have gotten lucky getting to where I died in the first place, because this stretch of land can only be described as the Valley of Death. Time after time I was obliterated by some random pal, or even teased by a shiny only to get hit by a wayward blade of grass that wasn't even aimed at me. So you can imagine the first thing I did when I finally reached my stuff again. That's right, we're going back. In the end, the desert area I was so giddy for was filled with a whole lot of nothing. No statues, these stupid looking parrots, and I guess there's the guy from the Statue of Power I built a while ago. In one of the far corners there's a base that you couldn't have a free pal from. Inside, a pal I'd never seen before. What's not to love? So my things are half the map away, and my pals back home have all gotten stuck on a hill and starved, with the exception of one resilient deer who decided to take matters into his own hands. Palworld had broken my will, along with several Steam records. That's not the point. The point is that without a direction, Professor Yolk felt lost. However, things were about to change. Waddling absent-mindedly past my camp for the last few days with these little penguins. At first glance, nothing special about them, until you catch one and scroll down the PAL gadget list to level 17.
Rocket launcher.
The capture description of a pengullet states that a pengullet wants nothing more than to fly. Palworld logic decrees that you can only help them by stuffing them into a rocket launcher. Instead of spending my time grinding the levels to craft a real launcher, I focused my efforts on capturing as many pengullets as the game allowed, occasionally granting one or two the euphoric sensation of flight. It was my calling. For about an hour. Actually, taking a proper look at the level up rewards after seeing what these simple penguins can do led me to make a discovery. While I was in the desert, I witnessed many things. Elephants doing backflips, Professor Yolk dying of old age, and the wrath of Anubis if you get too close. The Toko birds that I had initially written off are capable of launching eggs if you have the right gadget. It only makes thematic sense for our professor to manically fire off explosive eggs on a whim. Of course, it didn't occur to me at any point that I would one day be facilitating the use of explosives by slapping a bird's ass. The raw power of yolk now lies in the palm of my hand, with its only downside being a cooldown that you can circumvent by cycling the birds after they run out of eggs. Within each and every egg lies the potential to launch your enemies into an unending barrage of doom. Before this discovery, I truly thought that trying to steal rare pals and getting one shot in a zone 30 levels above my own was the most I was going to get out of the game. I could fill another 10 minutes with dumb egg clips, but this video does need to go somewhere. Palworld has a kind of progression after all. The first official boss hides away in this tower, waiting for the player to uncover the truth. Or the tree to hide the truth. I don't remember. Either way, the tower closest to me was just a stroll away. Zoe and Grisbolt. 10 minutes to deal 30k damage. One egg does around 375 damage on average. You do the math, we're going to be here for a while.
When I say goodbye, it's forever.
Professor Yolk, 4 brave birds, and a very dead penguin had done it. The first Rain Syndicate boss was down. Ignore the fact that I tried to crawl up Grisbolt's arse at the end. I was wondering why I could slide his ragdoll around so easily. So you might be thinking, yeah, alright, well done, but half the Palworld population has already fought Zoe and won. And I'd have to agree with you. So how about we go a bit crazy? Pit my eggs versus our old friend Anubis, the symbol of power, guardian of the dark sun, and eater of people. Jesus Christ. I cast one final look at our place of battle before climbing a nearby monument for a bit of high ground. Can my strategy of flinging fresh eggs out of a parrot compete against one of Palworld's legendaries so early on?